Have you ever seen a man whose hands tell more stories than his words? Hands cracked from soil, scarred by time, yet never trembling with fear. This is the story of Ramu, a farmer who taught his village what real strength looks like. But before we begin, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Slow and steady win the race. Because today's story will touch your heart and remind you of life's true meaning. Ramu lived in a small village surrounded by endless fields of golden crops, or at least they used to be golden. For the past 3 years, the monsoon betrayed the farmers. The rains either came too late or didn't come at all. The earth, once rich and dark, had turned into cracked dust. But Ramu never gave up. Every morning before sunrise, he tied his old turban, took his rusty plow, and walked into the barren land with a hope bigger than his hunger. He wasn't just farming for himself. He had a wife, Sita, and a little daughter, Meena. Her laughter was his only sunshine. They lived in a small mud house with a leaky roof and dreams too big for their pocket. Still, they smiled because Ramu's heart believed, if you sow your efforts honestly, someday the crop will come. One morning, Ramu went to the market to sell his last sack of wheat, but the trader laughed. "This is all you've got? These grains are half dry, worth nothing." Ramu swallowed his pride and walked away. His stomach growled, but he couldn't buy even a handful of rice. On the way home, he saw Meena playing with a broken toy. She looked up and asked innocently, "Baba, when will we buy new seeds? I'll help you plant them." Her words cut deeper than any insult. That night, Ramu sat under the sky and stared at the stars. "Why, God?" he whispered. "Why does hard work never seem enough?" Tears mixed with dust on his cheeks. But then he remembered something his late father once said, "A farmer never loses. He either reaps a harvest or learns to wait for one." The next day, Ramu sold his old bullock cart to buy a handful of seeds, the last chance he had. The villagers mocked him, calling him foolish for planting in such dry soil. "Nothing will grow," they said. But Ramu smiled. "Maybe not today. But the soil knows the heart of the one who sows it." Days turned into weeks. The sun was cruel, and water was scarce. Every day, Ramu poured the last drops from his clay pot into the earth and prayed. Sita begged him to stop. "We don't even have water to drink." But he replied softly, "If I stop now, everything ends." Then one night, as thunder cracked across the sky, a single drop of rain fell on his face. Then another, and another. Within minutes, the heavens opened up and cried upon the land. Ramu ran out laughing, shouting, "The rain! The rain has come!" He fell to his knees, drenched, as the dry earth drank greedily from the clouds above. The seeds he had sown began to sprout. Slowly, green shoots broke through the soil, fragile yet full of life. Meena clapped with joy as the first blade of grass appeared. It was the beginning of a miracle born out of faith, and that's how Chapter 1 ends. Not with success yet, but with hope. Because even the smallest seed of belief can grow into a forest of strength. Before we move to Chapter 2, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Slow and steady win the race. Months passed since the first rain. Ramu's small field had turned green again, but danger still lurked. Pests began to attack the crops. The leaves turned pale. Every night Ramu would stay awake, lighting a torch, chasing away insects and wild animals. His body was weak, his clothes torn, yet his spirit refused to bend. Sita often worried, "What if after all this, the crops fail again?" Ramu smiled faintly. "Even if they do, at least I will fail trying." Slowly, his hard work began to show its power. The plants grew taller, the air smelled sweet with new life. For the first time in years, the villagers stopped calling him foolish. They started calling him lucky. But luck had nothing to do with it. What they saw as luck was actually sweat, faith, and sleepless nights hidden behind those strong hands. When harvest season came, Ramu's fields shone like liquid gold under the sun. Tears filled his eyes as he touched the crops. Every grain was proof of his endurance. He called out to Meena, "Come, my child! This is your field now." She ran barefoot, laughing, her hands brushing through the wheat. Word spread through the village. People came to see the miracle field, the only one that flourished after years of drought. The same men who mocked him now bowed their heads in respect. "Teach us your ways, Ramu," they said. And he did. He shared his seeds, his time, and his hope. Soon, the whole village began to recover. One morning, the head of the village came to visit. "Ramu," he said, "you've brought life back to this land. We want you to lead the farmers' group." Ramu was stunned. He looked at the green horizon, the land he once begged to bloom, and simply said, "I'm no leader. I'm just a farmer who never stopped believing." Years later, Meena grew up and became an agricultural scientist. She helped bring new methods and water systems to the village. People started calling their land Meenapur, after the little girl who once believed her father could grow crops from dust. On the last day of harvest that year, Ramu sat beneath a tree holding a handful of wheat. The sun painted his wrinkled face golden. "It was never the rain," he whispered. "It was hope that grew these crops." He closed his eyes, smiling, knowing his journey had come full circle, from hunger to abundance, from despair to legacy. And that, dear friends, is the story of Ramu, a hard-working farmer, a man who proved that no matter how dry life gets, the rain always comes for those who refuse to stop sowing. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Slow and steady win the race. Because every story here reminds you, success doesn't come fast, but it surely comes to those who keep going, slow and steady.